Hi, my name is Danielle Brunson. Welcome. This is a session for the Emergency Home Learning and More Summit. I'm really excited to be here with you guys today. And we're going to spend the next 30 minutes talking together about some really great things that I think are going to be very helpful for parents or educators. And parents, you guys are educators at home as you work through working with kids in a very different type of world and a very different environment unexpectedly. All right, so my name again is Danielle Brunson. I am a lead trainer with the Namaste Project. And again, today we're going to talk about mindfulness for academics and behavior. So the focus is how to increase our academics and how to increase student performance while decreasing outbursts, decreasing that withdrawn thing that may happen with children, and really helping to just improve overall mood and well-being with our own children, with students overall. So a little bit about myself. I have a specialist in educational leadership. So right now, my main focus is I'm a yoga teacher. I work with adults. I work with a lot of teachers. I also work with just adults in general within my own community. And I'm a mindfulness teacher and a trainer. With the Namaste Project, I work with teachers, number one, by teaching them yoga, but also teaching them how to use yoga, how to use meditation, and how to use mindfulness in their classrooms. In addition to that, I coach parents on how to use mindfulness in secular and non-secular ways within their homes in order to help their children with using meditation in order to have less outbursts, to be able to focus and to feel better, because our whole goal is just to feel good in life when it really comes down to it, right? We want to learn so we can feel good. We want to work in a place that makes us feel good. All of those things we're worthy of, and that's what all of my work centers around, using lots of really great tools to reach that, and then academic improvement. So teachers are consistent learners, adults were always learning, kids are always learning. How can we use mindfulness and meditation and yoga to make learning easier and more fun? So I was a leadership and teacher coach for years in public schools. So I started off as an elementary school teacher, and then I became an assistant principal, and then I became a principal, all in a virtual setting. So while I taught for a while brick and mortar, when I became a school leader, it was in a full-time virtual public school. So as far as this virtual world goes or hybrid learning goes, I'm very experienced in how to work with kids in that environment, in that space, in order to increase their performance. Once I left the school building, being a school principal, working with K through 12 students and K through 12 teachers, I then became a principal coach. So then I coached the leaders in virtual schools and brick and mortar schools on how to run their schools, how to be focused on mindfulness, meditation, but also academic outcomes through data. So that's in my tool bag. Again, licensed principal, licensed elementary and ESOL teacher. And then my favorite job, being a mom. I am a mom to a 5, 8, and 16-year-old. I have done a mix of homeschooling and brick and mortar through public, private, Catholic, different types of schools. So I've had a lot of experience as a parent as far as schooling goes. And then I'm a wife, and I think it's really important for us to identify outside of our jobs. So I'm also a very big reader. I love to read. You'll never catch me without a book. I love to travel. I've lived in a couple of different countries, and friendships are very important to me. I really value relationships. So what is the problem right now? And why are people really struggling, and so much attention coming to using mindfulness in school settings or in homeschool settings, or for some kids who have been pushed into going to school at home unexpectedly? Well, an increasing number of children and adolescents are facing trauma, struggling with stress and anxiety, and battling new challenges as a result of technology, particularly social media. So we're seeing a lot of increase in students having mental health issues, focus issues, behavior problems, and science and data. Everything for me, I want science, I want data, is showing that a lot of this is stemming from social media and technology. There's the time when I was growing up, we would deal with a lot of the things at school, but then we would step away from school and we would have that break. Well, now our kids are connected 24/7 to their phones and their devices. So if they're struggling with things at school, they're struggling with bullying, they're struggling with feeling a certain kind of way, a lot of times that can trickle into their home life as well. So that's really building up and creating a lot of issues with kids' behavior. A lot of bullying, as everyone's well aware of. That's one of the reasons why I pulled my kids out of school, because of the bullying and the impact it was having on them, and decided to do school at home. So all of these things are increasing, unfortunately. So what is trauma? So a trauma is normal response to an abnormal situation. So on top of this regular stuff that's going on, right, we also have the added layer right now of COVID, which is a reality and our kids are very well aware of. Racial injustice is becoming huge. There's been a lot of stress around the election. There's so many things that are impacting children at home and in schools. So trauma is a normal response to an abnormal situation. All right, so when there's a history of trauma, our bodies get conditioned into what's hyper or hypoarousal. So what that means is if you're constantly feeling stressed, so for example, you're constantly hearing about something that may make you or people you love sick, like we are right now in this pandemic, or you're constantly getting alerts from Snapchat about a friend that maybe has cut you off, or you're being bullied online, or you're feeling a certain kind of way and you're constantly seeing it reinforced through social media. This puts our brains into the state of fight or flight, right? React, have an outburst, or freeze up and just stop. And this is because that's what we needed for a very long time to survive, right? Our brains needed to work that way. It's a natural response, just so remember that it's a normal response to an abnormal situation. But as this continues, and especially when it's continuous as it is right now, where it's nonstop, it starts to manifest in students and in adults as stress disorders, depression, and so many other things, right? So it really, really impacts how kids feel. And then it's proven that when kids do not feel safe, they cannot learn, all right? So it's just not possible for our brains to absorb information, to learn math, to learn science, to be able to write an essay at the level that it's capable of when we are in this hyper or hypoarousal. So when we're feeling the need to fight or to flight, right? To freeze or to have an outburst, we cannot learn. This is a proven fact. This is something that is not disputed in trauma response, in learning theory. So what we need to do is figure out a way to focus on what's called social emotional learning with children. And public schools and private schools have programs, but what we're finding is that mindfulness and meditation has a humongous impact on a student's ability to feel safe, feel grounded, and learn. And studies are showing that just incorporating some mindfulness and meditation access for kids and for teachers and for parents is able to increase students' academic behavior and decrease their outbursts and their inability to respond, because they're able to use these tools to then self-regulate and whatnot. There's a lot more science behind how our brain works, different levels of functioning, and why we can't learn. But just for the purpose of this 30-minute session, we're just giving you this brief overview. If you want more information, it's definitely out there. The science is amazing. All right, so moving on, again, why mindfulness? Why is mindfulness such a big buzzword, honestly? One thing that I have found that has been a positive that has come out of all of the stressors of 2020 is the focus on student well-being and on the people who work with students' well-being. So that might be a teacher, a parent, a youth director, all of these people that have worked with kids, and we devote our lives to our own children, or if we're in education or youth programming, we devote our lives to these people. All of these people are getting extra focus on, are you okay? How are you feeling mentally? And that is a plus on something that has come out of what has been a very challenging year. So mindfulness impacts things in such a positive way. So we have high rates of mental health issues, vicarious trauma, unease amongst children. Mindfulness will help with this. Issues with attention, being on task, ability to focus. Mindfulness helps with this. The additional stress, low test scores, low performance on formative and summative assessments. So formative assessments being those quick check-ins, summative being those big assessments. If you're doing work at home, mindfulness is going to improve your students' ability to retain this information. And then emotions, how everyone's feeling. We all want kids to learn math. We all want kids to learn reading comprehension, history. But I know that everybody in their heart who works with children, every parent, we really want our children to feel good, to be happy, and to live good lives. And mindfulness and meditation, it does that. I see it in my work every single day. I'm so blessed to have this job. I absolutely love it because it's an instant change when you start to meditate. So here are all of the beliefs that go along with this. So every child deserves high quality social emotional education. Every parent or teacher with a sincere positive intention is capable of teaching mindfulness. So I'm going to give you guys some tools that you're going to be able to take away from this session and immediately use them with kids in your life. And it doesn't matter if you're not a meditation teacher or a mindfulness teacher, or if you're not like me, where I've been teaching kids yoga for a long time, working with kids in this area, you can do it. Anyone can do this, and you can have an impact on the children's lives immediately. And we believe, actually, the Namaste Project, we don't really work with kids directly anymore. We believe that parents and teachers are the most effective source for teaching mindfulness because you're with the kids every single day. So my passion is working with parents. How can you use mindfulness in your own life and in your kids' life? I definitely know you can do this. And then that we also believe it should be affordable and accessible, which is why we love to give these presentations and work with wonderful groups on getting this information out there. And as I mentioned before, this is essential learning. Okay, this is not something that should be overlooked. Math is important, but if you can't learn how to self-regulate, how to feel good, how to pay attention, you're never going to be able to use that math skill that we've been focusing on so much. So what is mindfulness? If you're not familiar, it is simply paying attention on purpose in the present moment. So you might be thinking, Danielle, what are you talking about? Of course I'm in the present moment. But in actuality, the majority of the time, most humans are not in the present moment. Even right now, you might find yourself checking your phone or thinking about your grocery list, or the fact that you had to grade something, or that your kid needs to write this essay, or you have to cook something for dinner, or you might be thinking about a conversation you had with a friend yesterday, maybe replaying that in your mind. Whatever it is, it's very rare that we are in the exact moment that we are. So arriving in the present moment. So mindfulness is just simply paying attention on purpose. So noticing right now, take a moment and just notice how you feel. Are you cold? Are you warm? Notice how maybe the sounds around you, how things smell, how your body feels. Doing this very simple thing of pausing. I used to do this as an educator before every lesson, and I taught virtually. I would do the same thing. Tell the kids, hey, let's just check in. So take a moment right now. Notice how you feel. What do you smell? What do you see? What do you hear? All of those things will keep you mindful. What's meditation and yoga? So there's lots of definitions of this. All right, so people will talk about there's a variety of styles of yoga, different kinds of meditations, but for the purpose of this presentation and this discussion, meditation is seated silence and where you don't speak or make movement. The purpose is to become inward and more mindful, and yoga is the physical practice to provide activity and another opportunity to turn inward and become more mindful. So here's how this is going to help you as well. So when you start to do these practices at home as an adult, if you already have a yoga practice, you may know this. You have a meditation practice, you may know this. You're going to immediately feel more grounded and secure in any situation. You're going to lower stress and anxiety, increase focus, provide physical activity, respond to trauma, right? Respond to these things that are going on in our lives. And also this helps to get to the root of what's really going on. So a lot of times when our kids aren't focusing or they're acting out and they're having a lot of behavior issues, we're not really sure. We respond in the way that we think like this is what's wrong because it's how we would respond to a certain situation. But when you use mindfulness and you have a child become more grounded, notice what's going on around them, they're able to better articulate what's really happening inside and what's causing them to behave in the way that they are. It doesn't happen immediately with this because it requires a lot of practice and a lot of work with kids on how to express themselves. But it does happen, in my opinion, and through what I've observed through over a decade's work with kids in schools, a lot faster than some other practices on positive behavioral support systems. And then over time, you have physical well-being, and you'll see an increase in test scores. This is another data-driven fact. Students who do meditation and mindfulness and yoga, their academic improvement is shown through data. Typically, within just as short as a year, you'll see test scores starting to go up. All right, so what's social emotional learning? Before I teach you these practices, just really quickly, all of this ties into the ability for children to do these things, and this is a focus in schools, and I believe it should be a big focus for parents who are homeschooling and people who are doing learning at home in any form. And even if you are sending your kids to a public school or you're working in a public school, if this is lacking, it can be incorporated. So luckily there is a great organization that puts a lot of these resources together. I encourage you to reach out on the internet and look up CASEL and check out all of the great resources they have. But social emotional learning is something that should be incorporated into any curriculum, and we use the mindfulness in order to give the students the ability to set and achieve positive goals, right? To feel and show empathy for others. So when we talked about bullying and we talked about stressing, children who practice meditation and mindfulness are less likely to be the participants in that giving side of that, because they learn empathy and they learn how to relate to other people. Establish and maintain positive relationships. So socialization is something that is really lacking during the era of COVID, because children are not able to spend as much time either at their physical school, after school activities, homeschool groups, etc. But through social emotional learning, we're able to continue to make sure that they're building the skills that they need to keep those relationships and to reestablish them as we come out of this over the next 6 months or a year, or however long it might take, maybe faster than that. We want to make sure kids come back into these social settings with the ability to connect and to have those relationships, make responsible decisions. Think about it. I know plenty of adults who don't know how to make responsible decisions, who don't know how to set goals, feel or show empathy, or establish and maintain relationships. Because we didn't learn this. This wasn't a focus for us growing up. I'm from the 80s and it just wasn't a thing. But incorporating these things into your everyday learning at home is going to give the kids the skills. And then applying knowledge, attitudes, and skills necessary to understand and manage emotions. So just as I was saying before, a lot of times you don't even know what you're feeling, right? So mindfulness gives you the opportunity to pause and to acknowledge, I'm feeling happy right now, or I feel frustrated right now because I do not understand this math problem and I don't know why, and it's making me frustrated. So social emotional learning combined in that mindfulness idea gives children the ability to stop, notice how they feel, acknowledge it, and then do some breathing that we're going to work on in a second, maybe do a little meditation, and then re-tackle those problems, okay? But that you have to be able to understand your emotions and know how you feel in order to do that. Okay, so breathing for focus, breathing for academic improvement, management of emotions, and self-awareness. So what I want to do now is I want to give you a tool that you can use right away with kids. This is a breathing technique that I do with my own children all the time, and I do it in classrooms, and I train other adults to use this one. I'm going to teach you two. The first one is simply called easy breath. And easy breath, the reason why I want to teach it to you is because it is very much like what I said, easy. So what you're going to do is just find a comfortable seat wherever you are. You can do this standing if you'd like. I want you to relax your shoulders. So maybe you just take your neck and turn side to side a little bit, okay? If you want to just make any final adjustments. And we're just going to breathe together. We're going to take 3 breaths. So I want you to inhale through your nose. Hold it at the top. Maybe see if you can get a little more air in. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Inhale through your nose. Hold it. Open your mouth, sigh it out. Inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh it out. And then just pause here. Notice your body. If it feels okay, I want you to close your eyes. You're not going to miss anything. I'm here with my eyes open, but I want you to see if it feels safe for you to close your eyes, and then just breathe naturally for 30 seconds. And as you're breathing, notice how you feel physically, emotionally, and energetically. All right, open your eyes up slowly and just check in. So I don't know about y'all, but I immediately feel better, right? I feel calmer. I've noticed my shoulders have relaxed. I feel more focused. This is a breathing technique that we have teachers do with their kids at the start of every single class. I'm going to teach you one more, but I would encourage you before you sit down with students to do learning or before they sit down to do any kind of learning, just take a couple of deep breaths. Let's do another one. We're going to take 3 more. Get ready to have some more relaxation. This one's called bee breathing. You can do this with older kids. They like it. I have my 16-year-old enjoys it. But if you have younger children, this one's a huge hit with them too. I actually give my 5-year-old choices now. I'm like, what breathing would you like to do? He gets very frustrated because he's a 5-year-old boy and he's trying to learn how to deal with all of these emotions that are overwhelming to him, which is 100% normal. And he doesn't know what to do, and I'll tell him, well, what breathing would you like to do to help us calm down? And almost always he requests bee breathing. So we're going to do 3 rounds of bee breathing. Again, I would love for you to participate because this is going to really give you the experience, and then you'll be able to teach this to any children in your life anytime. So again, find a comfortable seat, relax your shoulders, relax your back, and let's inhale through our nose again. This time when you exhale, I want you to create a buzzing sound in your throat, just like it sounds like the name bee breathing. So you exhale and you make a buzzing sound. Let's do it again. Inhale. Buzz it out. One more. Inhale through your nose. Buzz it out. Again, you would pause here after you teach this. and you would ask any children and yourself, this is an opportunity for adults to take a pause. How do you feel? What do you notice? Just like we did with the easy breath. So close your eyes and spend another 30 seconds mindfully breathing, trying to be present, checking in with our bodies, checking in with our breath, our emotional state, and then getting to work. So while you can do this at the start of a class, you can also do this mid-class if you start to notice that focus has been lost. All right, next thing I want to talk about is meditation. All right, so even 1 minute of meditation a day, this is proven, 1 minute, 60 seconds is going to improve mood, focus, and behavior. I'm going to do a very brief guided meditation with you. And I want you, even if you've never meditated before, to feel comfortable taking this meditation and teaching it to other kids. All right, don't feel like you can't do it. You're just speaking. So again, I would imagine no matter what you want to do, you want to start with one of the 2 breaths. You got the kids calm, just like we are right now. And then we're going to sit. So you can have them sit crisscross on the floor. You can sit in a desk chair, just like I am now. If they're virtual, that's completely fine. I would do this in a virtual environment. You can even have them lay down if they want to, or standing. It's up to you. Really, ideally, seated is best, but any way works, right? Accessibility is what is important. So go ahead and close your eyes. I'm going to take you through this guided meditation. Take a nice deep breath in with your eyes closed. Open your mouth, sigh it out. And then just continue to breathe. As you inhale, notice that the air is a little cooler. As you exhale, it's warmer. You can feel it passing over your lip. And then I want you to imagine that you're on a beach, the most beautiful beach you've ever seen. The water is crystal clear, the sand is white, and you're walking towards the water's edge. See all of those things, smell the ocean, feel the wind blowing, maybe some birds flap by, and continue to walk just noticing your surroundings. And then I want you to sit down near the edge of the water. And then look off to the right, and to your surprise, there's a fish tank right next to you, and in it there's a fish just swimming around and flapping around. It's a beautiful fish. Just stare at it for a moment, notice its natural movements. And then pick that fish up. It's really amazing how easy it is for you to catch this fish. You've never been able to grab a fish out of water before. This one glides right into your hands and bring it into your lap. And then I want you to look into this fish. And as you look at it, I want you to bring to mind something that's not serving you. Maybe one of your friends who might have said something that wasn't nice. Maybe it's something at home that's stressing you out, or something that's not making you feel good. Maybe it's something you tell yourself, like, I can't do this, I'm not able. All of these things that we tell ourselves, I want you to think about it, and then I want you to look at the fish and put that into the fish. So direct those thoughts right there. And then take that fish, the next wave that comes up, and drop it into the ocean. And as the wave goes out, it takes that fish with it. And it's swimming away, taking those bad thoughts with it. And you're just now seated on the edge of the water, with your eyes closed, breathing, feeling relaxed, and feeling better as those bad thoughts and bad ideas swim further and further away. Go ahead and flutter your eyes open and just come back to this space. All right, y'all. So that's a super easy guided meditation you can do with your kids. You don't have to do the fish thing. You could just say, we're at the beach, we're sitting down, we're meditating, we're breathing. You can take them to anywhere they want to go. I used to do a survey with students and ask them what their favorite places were. And then we would do a 2-minute meditation where I would guide them through it and just describe it and just ask them to imagine it and then come back. The point is is we're using breathing, we're using meditation, we're using pause and mindfulness to calm down, to self-regulate, and to feel better. The more you incorporate this into your home life and into your classroom, at home, or classroom in a traditional school, the easier it is for kids to start to learn how to pause on their own. They may ask to meditate, my kids do. All of these tools are going to impact students in such a wonderful way. So we're out of time, but I really, really hope that you really enjoyed this and that you were able to pick up some tips and tricks and kind of understand why mindfulness is so important. I want to thank you guys so much for coming and listening to the talk. If you would like some more information, we do offer a lot of free resources on our website, namasteproject.net, or feel free to reach out to me directly. I have a ton of free stuff for parents that I am more than happy to share with you. My email is Danielle@thenamasteproject.net. And then we're on social media where we offer more of those breathing guides, more meditation information, and there's a couple of chats with some other experts in this field, just different tools for you to use with children in any way that you'd like. Have a wonderful rest of your day.